Hello, everyone. So we're just gonna wait for a few more people to join us. How are you? Happy afternoon, Friday afternoon. I can't believe it's Friday again. By the way, my name is Morale. I'm taking over Oomomo's IG account. And we'll be learning faux calligraphy today. So for those who haven't downloaded your worksheets yet, it's on the link of Oomomo's Instagram account. So you can use that to follow along with us, or if you just have a lined notebook or any paper lying down in your place, that should be good as well. All right. I think we are good. All right. So hi again, everybody. My name is Morel, and as I mentioned a while ago, I am taking over Oomomo's Instagram account. Thank you for Oomomo for giving me this opportunity to teach you faux calligraphy. So if you've never done calligraphy before, faux calligraphy is a good start, and I actually use this for a lot of things. So let me just share with you basically what is faux calligraphy. So yeah, there you go. So what is faux calligraphy? Faux calligraphy, when you don't have any calligraphy pens yet, let's say you want to start or jumpstart your calligraphy journey, it's a good way to actually practice and to understand the concept behind calligraphy. So faux calligraphy is basically imitating the look of calligraphy, right? So specifically pointed pen calligraphy, but you can also do it like with broad kind of calligraphy. But we usually do it when we want to look to make it look like cursive or script. All right. So what's important is like when do you actually use it? So number one, as I mentioned a while ago, when you don't have any supplies yet, you can start with this. You just need a pen and a paper to work with. But also, you can use it with a lot of things. Like, for example, I want to share with you some of the stuff that I did. So like this one, like on marble, you can use it because the calligraphy pen, it works wherein there's a nib and it's very flexible. But it doesn't work on most non-paper surfaces. So like a marble, or let's say you want to write on a mirror, right? You want to imitate calligraphy on mirror. So like this one that I'm showing you right now, I wrote this first with the skeleton of the calligraphy, and then after that I went back and do the second stroke. So also in, let's say you have agates or even leaves, so there are so many things that you can use faux calligraphy, and that's actually what I use when I work with on the day stationery for my clients or for wedding signs. Even on wood, that's what you need to use. So faux calligraphy is not just it's just imitating calligraphy, but it's actually very vital if you wanna do something nice like this on a bigger scale, because the pen is so tiny, so you can't use it on windows or on wood like that. All right, so much about that. I want to go now and show you or explain to you how do you actually the idea behind faux calligraphy. So there are two important parts of a letter that you need to understand. So and once you get this, it's actually very easy to do faux calligraphy. So if you see the brown arrow going down, that's what you call the downstroke. All right. So a downstroke is any part of the letter that when you're writing it, you're going down your paper. So we all know how to write. So every time you're going down on your paper for your stroke, then that's your downstroke. And every time that you're going up, like the blue part over here on your screen, that's what you call the upstroke. All right. So how does it work with calligraphy? So this is just the thing that you have to remember in faux calligraphy or even in actual calligraphy. When you're going down, all right, when you're going down on the stroke, that's your thick stroke. So in calligraphy, what make it pretty is the thick and thin lines, right? So the downstroke is all the lines that's going down, and the upstroke are the thin lines that are going up. So I'll explain more when I start writing later, all right? So, but for now, these are just the two things that you have to like remember, and it's not very hard to remember, right? So downstroke, it has to be thick, and upstroke, it has to be thin. So in Faux Calligraphy, we're just gonna leave the upstroke alone, all right? And we're just gonna deal with a downstroke. So we're just gonna go back and do the thick line, do another line to imitate the downstroke, which is thick. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, here we go. So there are 3 steps. 1, you write the word, and then 2, you go back and you have to identify the downstrokes, and then you have to duplicate it. So meaning there's another line beside it, a parallel line beside it, and then it's up to you. You can shade it, you can fill it out, or you can do different stuff about it. So I'll show you more about that. So no more talking, more doing. So are you guys ready? So if you have your pens and paper with you, I got here some pens. Oops, give me a second, something fell. All right, so I have here pens from Oomomo. So they do have lots of different pens to choose from. I like that they have different colors, different Japanese brands, and they even have this really cool, so it's a ball pen, but it's erasable, right? So how cool is that? All right, so I'm gonna use this, and I have some paper here. I'm just gonna adjust my screen so that you will see my desk, and we'll be writing together. So if you are ready, maybe tap the heart button or something. I can't hear you, but I hope you can hear me. Right? So are you guys ready? I want to see some yes or some hearts there. Come on, people, let's check it out. All right, there you go. Thank you, guys. Okay. Ooh, colorful hearts going on. All right, let's do this. I'm just gonna adjust my screen so you can see my desk. All right, see ya in a bit. Okay, let me just go back and I'll adjust this for you. Let me know if you can see it, but hopefully you can. Let's bring more light. And if you have any questions, I cannot see it because I'll be writing, but remember it. You can DM me later, or if we do have more time, then we can have like a question and answer portion. Okay, so the most important thing or material that you should have is just like a pen and a paper. All right, but on the worksheet that I gave you, you can see that it's a lined paper, or if you do have a notebook, I still advise and encourage that you have like a lined notebook. So like this this notebook that I have over here, so it's lined. Why do we need a lined notebook? So it's really the best thing to do, because you will know how to proportion your letter, you'll know how to write properly, and you'll just have to you'll be able to practice better if you do have like a lined paper. I don't know if you can do it without any line, but I can't, and I found that it's actually easier. And then when you get used to it, then you can actually just like dish the lined paper and go with like any blank paper, even especially if you're doing the calligraphy on surfaces. All right, so basically what we want to do first is to learn some terms that we'll be using today. So if you can see my paper, so there's like this guideline over here. The line where the letter sits, that's what you call the baseline. All right, so that's your baseline, and that's where most of your letters sits, like the capital, the lowercase letters. And then let's say if it's a letter Y, it just goes down on this area over here, which is what you call the descender. And then you go up here, just like the letter H or L, that's your ascender line. All right, so it's just important that your letter sits there. And then the height of your letter is what you call the X height. That's what you term it, and it's basically from the size of the letter X, which is from the baseline to this area over here where the dotted line is, and that's what you call the midline. So by the way, if it's too much information to you guys, this is going to be here for like 24 hours, so you can go back and review that. All right, so that is it. And as I mentioned to you, when it's a downstroke, and that's what you have to make into a thick line. And if it's an upstroke, like going up on your paper, you don't have to worry about it. Just leave it alone, and we're just gonna deal with a downstroke. So when you're doing faux calligraphy, if you've done it before, if you've heard it, people would say, oh, you just have to write cursive and then just go back and shade your letters. So that is true, and nothing wrong with that. But there's another way wherein you have to lift your pen so that it would be easier for you to have a really nice spacing for your letters. So let's say let's write the word love, and I'm just gonna write in cursive. So let's say, oh, let me see. I want to make sure I'm on the screen. Okay, so I'm not gonna lift my hand, and I'm just gonna write the word love. So after writing the word, you just have to go back and then do another line parallel to the downstroke. So that's for the letter L. And then for the letter O, it's just this part over here, right? Because that one is going up. And then this one for the letter V is this area over here. This is going up, so I'm just gonna ignore it. And then for the letter E, it's this side over here that's going down. So that is basically how you do your faux calligraphy. Now, the second step is if you want to shade it, then, feel free to do so. If you want to put like some design over it, some people would do like dots or stripes. So it's all up to you. So you just have to shade it, fill those lines, and that's basically it. You have a faux calligraphy, right, guys? So that is when you're writing cursive. Another way is to do it as if you're doing calligraphy. What I meant by that is that in calligraphy, number one tip that I would tell my students when I'm teaching them is that you have to lift your hand. Calligraphy is not handwriting, all right? Remember that, guys. Calligraphy is not handwriting. The reason is you have to lift your hand, you have to pause in between letters, so that you'll be able to, reset and position the next letter properly. So if you remember how I wrote this, I never lift my pen. But this time, I'm gonna write it again, and I'm gonna lift my pen in between the letters. So let's say the letter L, and then I'm gonna pause, lift my pen. It doesn't have to be an exaggerated lift, just a short pause. And then I'm gonna write the letter O separately. But I'm just gonna make sure that it's touching the edge. Oh, sorry. I saw some poor connection over there. Okay. I wanna make sure that I am still live. Am I still live? Can you say hi? Toot toot. All right. I wanna make sure that I'm still live. I just saw that there's like a poor connection. Okay. Great. I don't want to keep on talking and then I am not connected with you guys. All right, thank you for that. Okay, so going back. So I wrote the letter L, and then I'm going to write the letter O separately, like this. And then I'm going to pause after I write that, and then I'm going to write the letter V and exit, and then pause again before I write the E. Well, this is too much pause for some people, but I just want to show you like how it is different with cursive. So sometimes it works wherein you can just write it without lifting your pen, because like the word love is just a really short word. But let's say it's Mississippi or minimum, something like that, or supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. So you do have to lift your pen, all right? You can't write it with one stroke. All right, so after that, you're just gonna go back and do the same thing. And then after that, you're just gonna shade it. So this time, maybe you wanna use a different pen to shade it. See, that's fun. And then that's pretty much it. That's your faux calligraphy. All right, so that is the whole concept behind faux calligraphy. I hope so far you are learning something from me. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how to write each letter. so that you'll have an idea how it works. But before we go there, there are just some tips that you can take note. Like for example, when you're writing words or letters, you just have to make sure that there's just enough space in between those letters. So for example, I'm gonna write the word hello, and then you're writing the letters too close to each other. Then you won't have enough space to draw your parallel lines, your second lines, to imitate the downstrokes, right? So maybe this one still looks good, but sometimes you really have to just pause and try to be mindful like how you space your letters, and pay attention also for like loops. So for example, the letter H, for some people their H might be as thin as this, so when you put your downstroke, your second downstroke, you don't have that extra loop there. So just simple things like that. But it comes with practice. So the more you practice, the better you'll get with it. All right, so let's go, and I'll share with you first some of the basic downstrokes and letters. And these basic downstrokes that you have here, guys, I have a secret to tell you. All right, so if you learn these strokes that I'm showing you right now, like these, I believe these are 8 strokes. So these are strokes that you need to master. And even though you're just doing faux calligraphy right now, when you start doing actual calligraphy with a brush or with a pointed nib, like this one, yeah, like that one, it would be easier for you because you're familiar with these strokes already. So the first stroke is just a downstroke. So it's called the downstroke, and it's just from the top of the line going down to the baseline. So it's just from the top, and then you're just gonna write all the way down. And then obviously, because we are doing faux calligraphy, you're just gonna have to shade it or do a second stroke. And then for the second stroke, it's what you call, again, the upstroke. You just have to leave her alone. All right, so we're gonna go with the next one. So the next one is what you call an overturn. So an overturn, it's starting from the baseline, and then you're gonna go up and then loop back down and pause. So you have to pause where you started, like the same area where you started. So it has to be what do you call it, parallel? No, oh, what's the other term? Oh yeah, parallel to each other. So they have to be the same. So try not to do like something like this, right? So we're trying to practice your hand movement, the control of your hand. We call it muscle memory. Like like riding a bike. You don't know how to ride a bike, or you don't know how to drive, but then after practicing, you get good at it, something like that. So this is muscle memory as well. So this is your overturn, and then what we have to do is we just have to shade again the downstroke for you to have your faux calligraphy. All right, so next one is just the opposite of that, which is what you call the underturn. So you start from the midline. Whoops, there you go. You start from the midline, go down, and then you're curving back up where you just right across where you started. And then again, children, we have to shade this down because it's a downstroke. So there's an important thing that you have to remember here so that your faux calligraphy will look pretty. It's what you call tapering, or the narrowing down. As you can see here, well, this one is you start from a narrow area and then it's going wide, right? But it's still tapering. But it's the same thing when it's coming from the top, so it's thicker. And even though you're doing faux calligraphy, you just want to make sure that this has a nice tapering that's going on. So you don't want something like this. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it looks prettier when it's tapering, right? So it's narrowing down like that. And you want to make sure that the area over here, let me maximize my pens. This area over here, it has to be thin, so there shouldn't be any shade there. So that's your undercurve. Okay, so the next one is what you call a compound curve. Compound curve is just to become one, to become one of the overcurve and the undercurve. So you start first with an overcurve, go down, and then go up. So, just like the waves. And then what we have to do again is fill that downstroke. We can leave it like that, or you can shade it as well. All right, so next would be the ascender loop. Ascender loop, it can start from the bottom, from the baseline, or it could just like somewhere in the middle of the X height. I usually just start from the middle of the X height, just because it's like quite modern calligraphy, but you can start here, do an upstroke, and then loop back, and then go down. All right, or as shown here, you're starting from the middle and then you go down. So what is it that you don't want to do? You don't want to do this. All right, so this is different. This is not your ascender loop. That is very different, and I'm gonna tell you why. Remember, I told you that the basic strokes are the most important things, or most important strokes that you just have to remember, because they when you put them together, it forms your letters, right? So since we've done some overcurve and undercurve and this ascender loop, I'm just going to show you what I mean. So let's say you're doing the letter H. So I'm going to do an ascender loop, and then I'm going to pause, and then I'm gonna include an over curve like this. Oops, not like that one, this one. And that is your, sorry, there. That's your letter H, right? So you just have to shade it, and then you're good to go. So as you can see what I did there, I just put together two basic strokes and they form a word or a letter, right? So that's how it works. So that's why when you know all these basic strokes, writing the letter, especially the lowercase alphabet, it's going to be easy peasy for you already. So just with the letter H, for example, I do have like some questions like, where do you put the parallel line? Are you going to put it on the left side or on the right side? Some people would say, oh, you just have to put it on the right or on the left. What I can tell you is that I trust your judgment. It can either be on the left or on the right. It really depends on your word. It depends on your spacing, right? And yeah, I mean, we're all adults, and I'm pretty sure I trust you that you would know where to put it. But most of the time, in my case, let's say I have this, right? If I put the downstroke over here, I'll have that kind of H, right? But if I put it on the other side, then it has a very different look. So it has like a more squared bottom. So again, whichever you prefer. And also like for this one, I'm not gonna put my parallel line here because that would make my H look really cramped already. So I'm just gonna put it outside and make sure that it's still tapering. There you go. Right? So it really depends, left or right, just not top to bottom, but left or right. Okay, moving forward, we have what we call the descender loop. So it's just like the letter J, but it's not the letter J. Not yet. So you start from the midline, and then you go down past the baseline, and you're just looping up. And then again, you're shading it, or you're doing a parallel stroke. So I don't know if you observe already, but if you review all these strokes, they have like some form of oval going on, right? So there's an oval there, there's like a oval there, and oval there. So calligraphy is actually based from the shape of an oval. So if you want your calligraphy to, or faux calligraphy to look prettier, then you just have to practice making sure that it's kind of an oval. Again, that is just a rule, but you can always break it. If you want to make your letters like say more round like that, no problem. That's all up to you. It's like a style that you can naturally choose because, it's your style, it's your calligraphy. All right. Moving on, we have our oval. So the oval stroke is good for your letter A, G. Actually, for all the letters, actually, because it's like an oval, right? But most of the time we use it for A, Q, G, D, those kind of letters. So the oval, there are different ways to write it. When I was starting out, I would normally start from the midline, and then I'm gonna do the oval and end on the midline as well. And then I'm gonna do a second stroke. But then there are instances that it's better if you start somewhere around like 2 o'clock of your guideline. So like around the first 1/3 of your X height. So somewhere here, right? So if I start from there, I can go up, down, and back. The reason why I do that is, for example, I'm doing a letter A. So if I start here and I do a letter A, then it would look like this. But if I start here, it would look like this. I'm not sure if you see a lot of a big difference there, but it's more pointy on this side. And then this one, it's more round, and then there's more space going on. So again, it's depending on your preference, but either way, as long as it looks like an A and not a V, then you should be good to go. So guys, those are your basic strokes, right? So you can go back and replay this after our class, or sorry, I'm so used of saying the word class, our live, and then so that you'll get more familiar with it. But that's just basically your basic strokes. Ta-da! Okay, so now we'll pause. Just 5-second pause. I think I'm worried that I'm talking too fast for you guys. So good thing there's a replay, so you can go back, and I'm not sure if you can slow it down though. Okay, so we're now gonna go with your alphabets. All right, so this part I'm gonna just show you how to write each letter very quickly. All right, and you can follow along if you want. You already know the basics, the basic strokes, and you know that you have to put the weight on the downstroke. So I'm pretty sure you can do this with me. So in your worksheets, you have let me just go back to my screen. You have your lowercase and uppercase exemplars, right? So you can follow that. So we will practice first the lowercase alphabet. I'm just gonna show you how I write it. I'm not gonna shade all of it. We won't have enough time to do that because we wanna have and practice some of these strokes to put into words. And we're just gonna go and write all of it. All right. So again, this is your X height over here, and this is your baseline. And we're gonna start. I'm gonna put some. There you go. Okay. So where do we start? All right. So we're start with the letter A. The letter A is an oval plus, you lift your pen, plus a downstroke with an exit stroke like this. All right, and then I'm gonna go back, fill that parallel line, and that's your letter A. Letter B, you're starting with a center loop, and then you pause, and then from the bottom, you're just gonna go up, round, and exit. Right? Go back and fill that out. That's your B. Letter C is just half an oval, and then do another one. So guys, one thing that I want you to remember when you're practicing letters is that you have to make your letters happy. What do I mean by that? Okay, let me just do this first. So you can do an oval here, pause, and then from where you started, you're gonna do an ascender loop, but make sure that you're going down and touching the side of that oval, so it makes it into a letter D. But then there's another way to do this with one stroke. And that's what I usually do. I'm just gonna go up, down, and that's it, right? It's easier for me, but again, it all depends on what's the next letter beside it. And then we're going to go with the letter E. The letter E, you can start from the bottom like that, shade down, or there's another way, and we do it in traditional calligraphy. We start from the bottom, going up, we pause in the middle, and we do another line like this, and then curve back down and up, right? And I'm gonna explain to you the difference. So the difference is, for example, I'm gonna write the word meat, right? So this is my meat, my EE. Using this one, I didn't pause in the middle, or I'm gonna pause and then pause again and pause. So if you see they both is red, they're both red as meat, but as you can see, this one looks clearer in a way because there's a pause in there. So that is just the difference of it. So it depends. I use it when I'm writing like a longer word. I have to pause, and I want to make sure that it's very clear that it's an E, or especially if there's like a lot of L, a lot of E, and then I'm doing like kind of an up and down bouncy kind of calligraphy. I just want to make sure that my word is read by the person. So yeah, that's the difference. But again, either way, you'll be happy with it. Okay, going back. So I told you that you have to make your letters happy. What do I mean by that? So when you're doing any letter, you have to make sure that you're exiting quite high, like up to the mid height. Oh, sorry. Yeah, middle of the X height. If you can see the exit strokes or the end of my letters, they're quite high. And that's what makes it happy, because it looks like they're happy faces, right? Happy faces smiling at you. So why do you want to do that? Because let's say you're doing an A and then, you're just going down like that. When you're starting connecting your words, what's going to happen is, oops, I'm sorry, I forgot to bring this up, so maybe I'm going to do another stroke like that, and then that's where I'm going to do it. Or maybe, oops, I forgot, and then I'm just going to go connect my O, I'm going to go down again, and then everything is going down your paper. And you don't want to do that. So the best way to have a nice spacing and for your calligraphy letters and words to look nicer is that always make sure that you are, you follow through, and you really are intentional on where you bring the exit of your word or your letter. All right? Take note of that. Okay, now let's go back. What letter are we? F. So for the letter F, so you start from the baseline. It's you're doing an ascender loop, and then you're doing a descender loop. But this time, of course, you're going to your other side because it's a letter F. And then again, you just have to fill that up. Next would be the letter G. So the letter G is just a combination of your oval, as if you're making an A, and then lift your pen, and then you're making a J. Ta-da! So you'll have your second line over there, and then obviously this is a good example. So if you can see, I put my second line on the left side of the oval like this. Now I don't want to put my second stroke here on the left side of this as well, because as you can see, your letter is now suffocating. It's not breathing. All right, so what you want to make sure is that if you do that, so you're going here, for the second one, you can go out and do the second stroke on the right side so that your letter still looks like it's breathing nicely. Can you see the difference? This one has like a little bit of space over here rather than this, right? So it's asking you to help, I need to breathe. So you have to make your letters happy, and you have to make them breathe. All right? Okay, where were we? Letter G, H. So the letter H, I showed it to you a while ago. I'm just gonna do it again. So ascender loop, and then pause, and then exit stroke. Right, that's your H, and then go shade that baby. Okay, now the letter I, it's basically an almost under curve and then a dot. So for the letter I would mostly put it here on the outside as well, so that I would still have enough space in the middle. Again, it would depend on the next letter or the spacing that you have. And then next would be the letter J. For the letter J, it's just an upstroke and then go down for an descender loop, and then your dot. Right? So again, determine which is your downstroke, and then you're good to go. Next is the letter K. Remember the ascender loop that we did on the letter H? It's the same thing, but this time, instead of doing an overcurve, you're just going to do 2 lines that would look like the second part of the letter K. And then this time, some questions would be, should I shade both? Again, we're in a free country. You can shade both if you want, or you can just do one, which is your downstroke, right? Other way of writing K could be something like this, if you've seen something like this before. And this is a downstroke. This is derived from the traditional copperplate as well. The letter K is somewhat like that. Okay, the letter L, again, easy peasy for you because it's just the overcurve, and that's where you're gonna loop. So as I mentioned to you a while ago, this is where you can loop if you're doing a letter L or a letter T, but not when you're doing a letter H, right? Because if you're doing a letter H and you curve, then you have that extra leg over there. So that's your letter L. Next would be the letter M. The letter M. Okay, so upstroke, downstroke, and then 2 overcurve, and then exit. All right, and then again, shade that. If you can do an M, I bet you can do an N, upstroke, downstroke, overcurve, and exit. And then do the shades again. Okay. For the letter O, it's just your oval with an exit stroke. Oval, and then instead of stopping there, of course, you want to connect this with another letter or an exit. So you just have to do that. So here's the thing that you have to remember. With the letter O, you're only shading this part. And then you're going to, but Morel, this is a downstroke. You told me a downstroke should have a shade. But again, this is just an exit stroke. It's not like a main stroke. And if you do shade this, it will look heavy and ugly. So you don't want to do that, right? So just an oval, exit, and just do this stroke, your second stroke, downstroke on the right side. All right, whew, we're almost there, we're almost there. Letter P. Letter P is an upstroke, downstroke going down the descender line, and then from the baseline, you're gonna do a reverse oval and exit. Remember this area over here? It's just like your B, right? So when I was starting with calligraphy, the letter P is a pain in my, you know what? I can't write the letter P because I thought there's only one way to write it. And then I discovered, oh, I can write it any way I want as long as it looks like a P, right? So because you can write a P like something like this if you want. And it was so hard for me to do that when I was starting out. So I started with something very simple, upstroke, downstroke, and then reverse oval. So yeah, it's all up to you. And the next one is the letter Q. The letter Q is just the reverse of the G when it comes to the descender loop. So oval, and then downstroke, but you're turning to the right, and then exit. Again, you can shade there, but this one you can shade, the outside, or so you'll have enough space. You can actually also do it this way. So if you want to shade the inner portion of the oval, that should be good too. And that should do it. Your letter Q. Letter R. Okay, there is an important thing that you have to remember with the letter R, because in terms of proportion, it's quite higher than the rest of the lowercase. So let's say you have, let me draw it first. So upstroke, but you're going past the midline. So this is your midline. You're going past the midline and then you're going down. This might be there. And then you're gonna do that. So why are we doing this? Because let's say you have a letter A over here. And then if you do the letter R and don't go past the midline, it's just gonna look like a tiny little R beside the A. And it doesn't look the same, right? So it has to be a little bit taller than the rest of your letters so it would look normal. All right, so take note of that. Okay, last few letters. Now, letter S. The letter S, there are many ways to write it, but one way would be upstroke and then just half of a curve and then exit. You can make it like sexier if you want, or you can have a little loop on top and cross, like really exaggerated. But this is modern faux calligraphy, and letter S like this is totally fine. You just have to make sure that you shade or do that second stroke to imitate calligraphy. All right, that's your letter S. Now the letter T, remember how you wrote the letter R? Oh, no, sorry. Letter T, remember how you wrote the letter L, right? So it's just an L with a stroke in the middle. Oh my God, I totally forgot what this is called. Oh, it's on the top of my tongue. I will tell you later. Anyone in the group? Oh my God, what's happening to me? I didn't eat lunch yet. Crossbar. There you go. It's a crossbar. There. That's your crossbar. And your crossbar is thin. All right. So shade it if you want. And then this is just a thin stroke. Leave it alone. Okay. That's your letter T. I'm just going to show you now an alternative. I don't want to confuse you guys, but I just want to show you an alternative of the letter T. And that is like the E where you pause and you do that. All right. So this is something that you can do if you're writing a long word, or some people just prefer to write it that way. And then it's an L or a T. Okay, almost there. Now, the letter U is just an undercurve. So upstroke and then shade it. The letter V, exit stroke, entry stroke. Make sure it's pointy at the bottom. That's what separates it from the U. And then just do your second downstroke. The W, again, this is just two undercurve and then exit. Now, the letter X, you start, oops, sorry, I forgot to shade that. Or letter X, do this. This is just like the compound curve, but they're cut in the middle, and then an exit. For the letter X, you're only doing one shade, which is the first stroke. And then the letter Y is just the letter U with a downstroke, just like the J, and shade it. And the last letter for the day is the letter Z or Z. You start with this, and then you're almost, you're on the lower 1/3 of your X height, and then you're going back again for your descender loop and exit. All right. Yay! So that is all our lowercase alphabet, guys. So, I would love to demonstrate all the uppercase alphabet, but we won't have time to practice some words. So, but you do have your exemplar. So just follow it along. There's an arrow where you have to shade it. And I believe in you. You can do that too. Just some short I'm not sure, but like some tips. The nice thing about uppercase is that you can just leave it alone. You don't have to connect it with the rest of the letter. You just have to make sure that there's enough space, so that it still looks that they're together. What I meant is, for example, you're doing a letter L for love, right? You can connect it with the O like this, but you can also just leave it alone like that if you want. So it's not really very particular. All right, so now what? Ooh, something. That's the second thing that fell on my table. So now I want to make sure that I teach you how to connect words. As I mentioned, faux calligraphy is simply just writing in cursive and then you're going back and shading it. That's one option. But another way to do it is, again, you're pausing. So as I explained to you a while ago, you just need to pause and write the letter. So actually the word Oomomo is a good example because there's lots of overcurves and undercurves on the word. So I'm just going to write it. I'm just going to show you how to write it. And what you want to practice is that every time you write a word, you just have to anticipate what's the next letter that's coming up, so you know where to bring your exit stroke. All right, so let's say we're gonna write the word Oomomo. So letter O, I'm gonna pause and lift my pen. I'm gonna write the next O, separately. And then I know it's an M, so I'm gonna bring my pen to the very top of the midline. And then I'm not gonna do an entry anymore. I'm just gonna do a downstroke and then 2 overcurves. And then I'm gonna pause, lift my pen, do the O again separately. I know my next letter is M, so I'm gonna bring it up. I can't bring it all the way down because it won't look really nice. And then do another M on its own. Exit. And then do the letter O on its own. Ta-da! So that's your letter. And then if you want to shade it, then you can do that. I'm gonna use a different color so that we will all see it together. And just determine which ones are your downstrokes. So if you do have like, I don't know if you can see it, like you can see the extra line over there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna really shade it so that it would look nicer and it would just cover it, right? So, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see, there you go. So you have, voila, faux calligraphy, and it's a skill that, you know, people will never know if you're doing faux calligraphy or real calligraphy, especially if you're doing it in non-paper surfaces. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna show you, I have here on our worksheet. So if you are getting ready for Mother's Day and you do have, you know, someone special, a mom, a friend who's a mommy that you wanna surprise with calligraphy or something like that, a card, especially if you can't go out right now, then you can totally do that. I have a worksheet where you can practice these. And as you can see, there is how I broke the letters. So I wrote the letter H and then the letter A and then the P. But then, of course, obviously, they have to be together. This is just showing you how I broke in the letters into strokes. Again, strokes become your letters and then become your words. All right? And you can practice doing that. But I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it like on a piece of paper so that you have an idea on how to do it. You can make it very simple. And if you have a pencil, you feel free to use a pencil first. I'm just going to plug in. All right. So you can use a pencil, but you have to do it really lightly so that when you erase it, you won't have any trouble erasing those lines, because if you push too hard, or I mean press too hard, then you know they will see that lines over there. Maybe it could be a style, but most of the time it doesn't have to be. All right, so I'm just gonna try and wing it. Do let's say a oh, the thing, the home is where my mom is. Is that the word that I showed you? Home is where my mom is. Yeah. Okay. So I usually start with drafting. So a pencil maybe like this. And then after, you can make it very simple and just do one line, like, you know, 2 lines or 1 line, but you can also move it around if you want. And then pencil it. And then I'm trying to see now where I can put more space so I can shade it, right? Home is where my... And then normally for the letter Y or G, I leave it alone first so that I have more space later. Home is where my mom... And then I'm gonna go back and do the Y, and then maybe put more space, and then do my last stroke. So maybe, oh, okay, this might be something, but then as you can see, I'm sure you can see it from top, oops, right? So there might be like some spaces that has to be filled up, so you can just put like some flowers or some stars or hearts if you want to. So let's say you have this already and you know where the downstroke is, then you can go ahead and trace that with a pen. If you do have like markers, that will work too, as long as it's not flexible. But you know, you can challenge yourself in brush calligraphy like this one. This is a brush. So Oomomo also have these zebra brushes, and it's actually easier because you just have to do it with one stroke. You just have to press the brush. But you know, that's for another day. I can show that to you. But if you don't have that, I swear, even pencil. So surprise your loved ones with your newfound skill and do this thing. And then there you go. So you wrote it already, and then you can go back and go shade it, your downstrokes. Let's see, where are my downstrokes at? There you go. And then I'm really having a hard time with the R sometimes, but again, it's cliche, guys, but it is true. Practice makes progress. I've been doing calligraphy for 8 years now, but you know, I still figuring things out and I'm still learning every day. So there's always room for new learnings. There you go. And then you can let it dry. You can blow it or just wait for a few minutes, and then you can erase. Hopefully my ink, you have to remember, don't erase your lines yet. You have to make sure that your ink is all dry. Wait a few minutes, be patient, and there you go. Right, so it's something like that. And then if you want to fill that, or you know, do different styles, you don't have to shade it. You can just put lines there or dots, whatever you want. That should be good. And then maybe you want to emphasize the word mom, then maybe you can shade it. Sorry, I'm doing it faster than usual because, you know. Okay, and then you can shade this if you want so that it's more visible, right? And then do the rest. And then maybe, put some heart somewhere just to fill and make it more visually balanced. So if you don't want to deal with that right now, you can just do it with 1 or 2 lines and you can write the word you want. All right, so there you go. You have an instant card for your mom or for someone that you know who is also a mother. But again, for any occasion, you can do this. You can make your own fall calligraphy cards, and I swear you can do this on windows now. So maybe if you want to practice on your window or on your mirror, you can do that as well. And there you have it. Let me just turn back the camera to me. Where is that thing? Okay. I'm sweating here. Yay! Ta-da! There you go. There you have it. You have something for your mom, and you have to be proud with what you will create. So if you create something like this, make sure to tag Oomomo, and you can tag me too if you want. I have, okay, there. Yay, you did it! Woo! Let's do some, I have an applause. Give yourselves a big hand. And then, yeah, there's my Instagram handle. You can, if you have any questions regarding, our lesson for today, you can DM me there. And then if you have questions about Oomomo's products, you can also message them on their Instagram account. Right now, I do know we have people here from BC, from Ontario, Toronto, because Oomomo do have like a lot of branches around Canada. But right now they have an e-shop for those who are in BC, specifically those who are near Aberdeen and Lougheed Mall. So you can order pens, pretty pens like this, and they have pretty notebooks too, like this one that I have over here, the shiny notebook. So yeah, so they do have lots of that. Every time I go there, I swear I would spend like an hour or 2. So it's a stationary haven. So yeah, please do visit their website, and they do have lots of that stuff over there. What else? So if you do, Metrotown location, they're closed right now. Sorry, yeah, but please do remember to still practice social distancing. So we want to thank you for joining us today. I wish we have more time to like chat and everything, but yeah, maybe we'll do another one. Or you can also tune into my account. We'll do some live things there. Let me know what you want to learn more. But I want to see your work. Make me proud. All right, make me proud. Tag us with your card for Mother's Day. So, any more questions? Oh yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much, guys. And I do hope you learned something from me. Thank you for, oh, hi, Cherry. Thank you for Oomomo, for reaching out and, yeah, asking me to do this for you guys. Can you believe this is my first Instagram live, guys? And I'm sweating. So thank you so much, guys. And again, remember to stay safe, stay healthy. Hopefully here in BC they'll be lifting the lockdown rule, right? I think so. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon, and keep on writing, keep on practicing, because it's something that is very creative. Bye. See you guys.